Welcome back, Wastelanders. This is Gary coming at you, aka The Last Ranger. And the video for today, I do not have a title for. I'll think of a title eventually before I post the video. But I'm going with knives that you regret buying. So, my first one today, and all these are old knives. There's three knives. All these are old. I can't tell you how old they were. Probably the newest one will be at least 10 years old, probably 7 to 10 years old at least. So the first one is made by Buck, and I hate this knife. And I don't even know what it's called. I know it's made by Buck, and it's probably, maybe it's the 870. I don't know if that's the model number or not. What does it say? Oh, China. And they have that engraved in the blade. So I don't know what possessed me to own this. Maybe I was like drunk or high, but I made this purchase and I instantly hated the knife. So I'm not attracted to Tonto blades in the shape blades and normally, but I think I bought this knife because it was the camo pattern, and I'm not attracted to serrated blades at all. So maybe if somebody could chime in on what this knife is and when it was made and how successful it was. I can't imagine it was successful at all. Next, we have see if it'll flip out. It's very crappy. You can flip it out if you throw the wrist into it, but I don't want to risk knocking my camera down. So this is the Smith & Wesson HRT, and I think that's the model number. I don't know. Initially, this knife is not too bad. I don't know. The handle seems to be made out of glass reinforced nylon, or it hasn't. The scales or the liners are embedded in the scales. And honestly, I didn't hate this knife when I first got it. I don't like the serrations, but it was like a very cool stabby knife, and it's sharp, but I don't know what steel this is, and I think it's like it was a cheap knife. And you could see by the liner lock, it's at least 50%, but I wouldn't trust this liner because it's very thin steel, and it's easily moved. And hopefully if I can try to flip it. If it flips sometimes, but I haven't like cleaned it or checked it in probably forever. Since I bought it. And this takes the cake for regretful buys. Regretful purchases. This who thinks they know what this knife is? Who made this knife? Honestly, I got this for a Christmas present, and I don't know what possessed me to like write this knife down, that I have to have this knife. But I think it was, I think I wrote this knife down and I got the wrong version. So this is, the blade is, it's stuck in there. It's very tight. It's made by CRKT. Dig this serrated tip on the Tonto blade. It's bad enough that it has serrations here. It has serrations on the tip. If you ever seen a knife like this, I've never seen a knife like this. And I think the handle are aluminum with steel. It has like some kind of purplish color. It's like I think it's a purple. It's called the Thunderbolt 2 by Lake Design 7131. Try looking that up. It has jimping inside the thumb hole. But if you were thinking about flipping this knife open, it's not good, because it needs adjustments, majorly adjustments, to turn it into a flipper. I should have opened these knives all up, but I don't think any of these knives are on bearings. It was a washer too, and it features this locks thing that CRKT used to use. Maybe they still use it, I don't know. Rendering it as a fixed blade now. You can't disengage the liner lock when you push it forward. So, and it's not, check out its lockup. It's like barely 10%, even if maybe 5%. It doesn't have a good lock. I wouldn't trust this knife unless I put the locks thing on. What are all these knives that have in common that I don't like? Serrations. I hate serrations. They all have that in common. What else? They're all unused. I probably carried this one 10 times since I owned it. I've never carried this one, and I've never carried this one. But that's your video for today. I just wanted to show you knives I regret buying. A bonus topic is helping me identify this knife. This knife was carried by me as a young high schooler, maybe even grade school. I don't know how old this knife is, but I've had it at least 38 years, at least as long as I've had the Kershaw. But I've not been able to look it up. It's called the Cam 3, and it's AUS 8 steel, and it has Japan stamped on the back of the blade, and that's it. At least it tells you what the steel is. But I've tried looking it up, and I've saw some old Kershaw knives that have this particular handle, but nowhere on it's identified as a Kershaw. So maybe it's a Kershaw knockoff. Somebody, maybe this is the company or the name. The name of the knife, I'm not sure. But if anyone out there knows, let me know. I've always been interested in who made this knife. The blade lock is failed. Yeah. So it's busted. I think I used to use this knife so much, and it's abused now. I mean, I think that's there's a piece broken off, so it doesn't lock anymore. It locks, but you can disengage it just by pressing this. You don't have to press this at all. So I still like the knife. I mean, it's always in. I used to use it for fishing, but it used to be a tackle box knife. So, and since Stuff We Do did his video on today on karambits, I thought I'd show off the only karambit that I own, and it's old, like these knives, like at least 10 years old. That's the only karambit I own, and this used to be like a toolbox knife. I don't know why, but I always put this in my toolbox, and like he said, I probably used it not for fighting. I probably used it for like breaking down cardboard and stuff. I don't know, what have you, but this is sharp, but it's pretty ugly. Smith & Wess's Extreme Ops, and I don't know where I bought this, why I bought it. It's the CK33, made in China. So it's a heavy duty knife. It's very structurally well. It wasn't locked up. Oh, I almost cut my fingers off. But yeah, it's not locked up that good. Maybe I've abused it so much I've broken the liner or some part of the knife. But I used to use it a lot. Just I beat the crap out of it, and it doesn't like. The blade's held up. I mean, there's not any markings on the blade, like a few, but it's a toolbox knife for me. So I really want somebody to help me identify this knife. And it's the Cam 3. This says AUS 8 from steel from Japan. I thought it was a Kershaw, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So, thanks. Bye-bye.